Taewon stood in the waiting room, staring at his reflection in the polished metal wall. He was 36 years old, though the scars on his face made him look older. His dark hair was cut short and his eyes were tired. He wore simple gray clothes that hung loose on his thin frame. The last 3 years had not been kind to him. The door opened. Hana walked in, her diplomatic uniform crisp and perfect. She had been his commanding officer once, back when he still wore a military uniform, back when he still had a unit to command. Taewon, she said. Her voice was formal, careful. Thank you for coming. He did not turn around. You said it was important. It is. Hana moved to stand beside him. The Kareth Empire is demanding a trial by combat. They claim we violated their sacred borders. If we refuse, it means war. Taewon finally looked at her. So find a champion. I am. I'm looking at him. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. You don't want me, Hana. I'm not that person anymore. You're the only person I trust for this. She pulled out a datapad and showed him images of the Karath warrior who had issued the challenge. The alien was huge, at least 7 feet tall, with 4 arms and scales that looked like natural armor. Princess Vela, she's never lost a fight. She's killed 23 opponents in the arena. Taewon studied the image. The princess looked strong, fast, and very confident. What happens if I lose? We lose the disputed territory. 15 colony worlds. 3 million people will have to evacuate. Hana paused. And you'll probably die. And if I win, the colonies stay ours. The Karath back down. Peace continues. Taewon handed back the datapad. When? 3 days? The ceremony is in an hour. He nodded slowly. All right. Hana's eyes widened. Just like that? You don't want time to think about it? What's there to think about? You need someone to fight. I can fight. He picked up a worn jacket from a chair. Let's go meet this princess. The central chamber of Kara 7 was enormous, with a ceiling that showed the stars outside. Hundreds of aliens from different species filled the observation decks, all watching the floor below. News drones floated everywhere, recording everything. On one side of the chamber stood Princess Vela and her entourage. She wore armor that gleamed like gold, and all 4 of her arms held different ceremonial weapons. Her scales were deep purple and her eyes were bright yellow. She stood perfectly still, radiating power and confidence. On the other side, Taewon walked in with just Hana beside him. He wore the same gray clothes, no armor, no weapons. Whispers spread through the crowd. Many had never seen a human before. Those who had seemed surprised by how small and weak he looked compared to the princess. The Galactic Arbiter, a being made of pure energy, floated between them. Its voice echoed through the chamber without sound, speaking directly into everyone's mind. We are gathered to witness the challenge. Princess Vela of the Karath Empire has demanded satisfaction for the violation of sacred borders. Humanity has accepted the challenge. Present your champion. Hana stepped forward. Captain Taewon, veteran of the frontier wars, champion of humanity. The chamber fell silent for a moment. Then Princess Vela began to laugh. It was a deep rumbling sound that made the floor vibrate. Her attendants joined in, and soon half the chamber was laughing with her. Vela walked forward, her 4 arms crossed over her chest. She towered over Taewon, looking down at him with amused yellow eyes. This is what humanity sends? A small scarred man with 2 arms and soft skin? Taewon said nothing. He simply looked up at her, his expression calm. You won't last a minute against me, human, Vela declared, her voice carrying through the entire chamber. I have fought for 20 years. I have killed warriors twice your size. I have broken armies. And you... She leaned down, bringing her face close to his. You look like you can barely stand. Still, Taewon said nothing. He met her gaze without flinching, without fear, without anger. Just calm, patient silence. This seemed to annoy Vela more than any words could have. She straightened up and turned to the Arbiter. I accept this, a champion. 3 days from now in the arena. I will try to make it quick, human. Consider it mercy. The Arbiter's voice filled their minds again. The challenge is set. 3 days for preparation, as is Kareth tradition. May honor guide both warriors. As the crowd began to disperse, Hana pulled Taewon aside. She's going to kill you. Maybe. This isn't funny, Taewon. I've seen her fight. She's incredibly fast, incredibly strong. She has 4 arms. You have... Hana gestured at him helplessly. You have scars and bad knees. I have enough. He started walking toward the exit. Why did you agree to this? Hana called after him. You hate fighting now. You've spent 3 years hiding in the outer stations, drinking and avoiding everyone. Why agree to this suicide mission? Taewon stopped. He stood there for a long moment, his back to her. When he spoke, his voice was quiet. 3 million people. You said 3 million people would have to evacuate if I don't fight. Yes. My unit was 40 people. We held a position for 6 days so that 5,000 colonists could evacuate. 40 people for 5,000. Seems like good math to me. He continued walking. 3 million is worth one more fight. Hana watched him go, her heart heavy. She remembered the young soldier he had been, full of fire and determination. The war had taken that from him. It had taken everything except his sense of duty. Across the chamber, Princess Vela was speaking with her mentor, Commander Rax, an old Karath warrior with gray scales. Did you see him? Weak, pathetic. This will be over in seconds. Rax's expression was troubled. Princess, I have fought many species in my long life. I have learned one thing. Deathworlders are never what they seem. Deathworlder? Vela scoffed. Their planet is called Earth. It's barely classified as hostile. They are soft creatures who build cities and write poetry. They are also the only species that hunted their prey by walking after it until it collapsed from exhaustion. They are the only species that can run for hours without stopping. Their world tried to kill them for millions of years, and yet they survived. Rax put a heavy hand on her shoulder. Do not underestimate him, my princess. I have made that mistake before. I bear the scars to prove it. Vela pulled away from his grip. You worry too much, old teacher. In 3 days, I will show the galaxy why the Karath are the greatest warriors in known space. She looked in the direction Taewon had gone. That human will learn what real strength is. But as she said it, something in the back of her mind whispered a warning. The human had not looked afraid. He had not looked angry. He had looked patient. Like someone who had done this before. Like someone who knew something she did not. Vela pushed the thought away. Fear was weakness. Doubt was defeat. In 3 days she would crush this human and restore her empire's honor. It would be easy. It would be over in a minute. The next morning, Princess Vela held her first public training session in the station's main arena. Thousands gathered to watch, and news drones broadcasted across the galaxy. She wanted everyone to see what would happen to the human champion. She entered the arena wearing light training armor. Her forearms moved in perfect coordination as she warmed up, each movement precise and deadly. The crowd cheered. Today, Vela announced, her voice amplified throughout the station, I will show you the power of the Karath. She approached a training dummy made of solid steel, designed to withstand strikes from heavy weapons. Vela took a stance, all 4 arms pulling back. Then she struck. The dummy exploded into pieces, metal fragments flying in every direction. The crowd roared its approval. Next, she demonstrated her speed. 4 training drones flew at her from different directions, each moving faster than most species could track. Vela destroyed all 4 in less than 2 seconds, her arms moving in a blur. She barely seemed to try. For an hour, she continued. She lifted weights that would crush most beings. She moved with speed that seemed impossible for something her size. She fought 3 combat drones at once and destroyed them all without taking a single hit. When she finished, the galactic news networks were unanimous. The human had no chance. Betting odds went from bad to worse, 1,000 to 1 in favor of the princess. Some bookmakers stopped taking bets entirely. Meanwhile, in the lower levels of the station, Taewon walked into a small weapon shop. The sign above the door was faded and old. Sung-Ho's Supplies. Sung-Ho looked up from behind the counter. He was in his 40s, stocky and strong, with burn scars on his left arm. When he saw Taewon, his eyes went wide. No way. Is that really you? Hello, Sung-Ho. The shop owner came around the counter fast, pulling Taewon into a crushing hug. 3 years. 3 years without a word. I thought you were dead. Not yet. Sung-Ho pulled back, looking at his old friend carefully. You look terrible, thin, tired. What are you doing here? I need to use your training room. Training room? Sung-Ho frowned. For what? Then understanding hit him. Oh, no. Tell me you're not the human champion everyone's talking about. Taewon said nothing, which was answer enough. Sung-Ho swore in 3 different languages. Have you seen her? She's a monster. She just destroyed solid steel with her bare hands. Taewon, she'll kill you. Maybe. Sung-Ho grabbed Taewon's shoulders. This isn't like the old days. You don't have your unit backing you up. You don't have military support. It's just you against something that can break you like a stick. I know. Sung-ho stared at him for a long moment, then sighed heavily. You're really going to do this? I have to. Why? Why do you have to? Sung-ho's voice was almost pleading. You did your duty. You lost everything. You don't owe humanity anything more. Taewon looked at his old friend with tired eyes. 3 million people. That's why Sung-ho understood. He had served with Taewon long enough to know that when he made up his mind, nothing would change it. All right. The training room is in the back. It's private, soundproof. No one will bother you. Thank you. Taewon, Sung-ho called as he headed to the back. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're still the same stubborn fool. For the next 2 days, Taewon trained alone. Sung-ho checked on him occasionally, bringing food and water. What he saw worried him. Taewon moved slowly, carefully. His strikes lacked power. He seemed weaker than Sung-ho remembered, as if the 3 years of exile had drained something vital from him. On the second day, a young man arrived at the shop. He was barely 20 with bright eyes and nervous energy. Excuse me, is this where Captain Taewon is training? Sung-ho studied him. Who's asking? My name is Jinwoo. I'm from New Seoul, one of the colony worlds. I heard the captain is fighting for us and I wanted to see him. To thank him. He's training. He doesn't want to be disturbed. Jinwoo's face fell. Oh, I understand. My family's on New Seoul. My little sister. If the Kareth take over, we'll lose everything. Could you just tell him that we're grateful? That we're praying for him? Something in the young man's earnest face made Sung-ho soften. Wait here. He went to the training room and found Taewon sitting against the wall, breathing hard, sweat covering his face. There's a kid here, from one of the colonies. Wants to meet you? I'm busy. Taewon, you need to see this. Trust me. Reluctantly, Taewon followed him out. When Jinwoo saw him, the young man's face lit up. Captain, sir. I'm Jinwoo from New Seoul. I just wanted to say thank you. My whole family, everyone on our world, we're all watching. We believe in you. Taewon looked uncomfortable. You shouldn't believe in me. I'm just one man. You're our champion, Jinwoo said firmly. The news says you don't have a chance, but I don't believe that. My grandfather told me stories about the frontier wars. About how your unit held the line when everyone else ran. About how you never gave up no matter what. Your grandfather knew my unit. He was one of the colonists you saved. He's the reason I'm alive today. Jinwoo straightened up. So I know you can win. Because you're a Deathworlder, and Deathworlders don't quit. After Jinwoo left, Sung-ho found Taewon still standing in the shop, staring at nothing. You all right? Deathworlder, Taewon said quietly. I haven't heard that term in a long time. The kid's right, though. That's what the aliens called us during the war, because Earth tried to kill us for so long that we learned to just refuse to die. Sung-ho paused. Is that your plan? Just outlast her? Something like that. That evening, Hana came to check on him. She found him in the training room, moving through basic exercises. She watched for several minutes, her concern growing. Taewon, you're moving too slowly. You should be faster than this. I'm fine. You're not fine. Tomorrow you fight a warrior who has never lost and you're moving like an old man. She stepped closer. Please, tell me you have a plan. Tell me you're not just going to walk in there and die. Taewon stopped and looked at her. For the first time since she had asked him to fight, she saw something in his eyes. Not fear, not doubt. Something else. Something patient and calculating. Hana, how long can she fight? The question caught her off guard. What? The princess? How long can she fight at full strength? I don't know. An hour, maybe more. And how long can I fight? Hana remembered the reports from the frontier wars. The stories that seemed impossible. The record says your unit fought continuously for 6 days. 5 days and 18 hours, Taewon corrected. We had to stay awake, stay moving, stay fighting. No sleep, no real rest. Just survival. Understanding began to dawn on Hana's face. You're going to wear her down. Humans are persistence hunters. That's what the xenobiologists say. Back on Earth, our ancestors didn't run fast or hit hard. They just kept walking after their prey until it couldn't run anymore, until it was too tired to fight back. He picked up a water bottle and drank slowly. I don't need to be stronger than her. I just need to last longer. But she'll hurt you. She'll break bones, tear muscles. How will you keep fighting through that? Taewon touched one of the scars on his face. Pain is just information. It tells you that you're hurt. It doesn't tell you to stop. He looked back at her. I learned that on Karax Prime, when the planet tried to kill us every single day. Pain means you're still alive. Still fighting, still moving forward. Hana felt tears in her eyes. I shouldn't have asked this of you. Yes, you should have. This is what I'm good at. Maybe the only thing. He gave her a small, sad smile. Besides, someone has to show that princess what a Deathworlder really is. Across the station, Commander Rack sat with Princess Vela in her chambers. She was reviewing footage of her training sessions, clearly pleased with herself. The human still has not appeared in public. Perhaps he has fled. He has not fled, Rack said quietly. How do you know? Because Deathworlders do not run. That is what makes them dangerous. He leaned forward. Princess, I beg you one final time. Do not underestimate him. I have fought humans before. They are not like us. You have said this repeatedly, teacher, but you have never explained why I should fear such a weak species. Rax was silent for a moment. Then he pulled up his sleeve, revealing deep scars that ran the length of his arm. 40 years ago, I led a raid on a human colony world. We thought it would be easy. They were farmers, merchants, families. We were warriors. We attacked at dawn, and they fought us for 11 days. No military training, no proper weapons. Just humans who refused to die. I personally fought one human male. He was old, maybe 60 of their years. I was young and strong. I broke his arm. He kept fighting with the other arm. I broke his ribs. He kept fighting. I stabbed him through the shoulder. He kept fighting. Rax's voice grew quiet. When he finally fell, he had 12 major wounds and had been fighting for 37 hours without sleep. And with his last breath, he still tried to hit me. Vela stared at the scars. One human did that to you? One farmer. Not a soldier. Not a warrior. Just a father protecting his children. Rax met her eyes. That is what you face tomorrow. Not strength. Not speed. Something far more terrifying. You face something that will not stop. Cannot stop. Does not know how to stop. For the first time, doubt crept into Vela's confidence. Then how do I defeat such a thing? The arena floated in the void of space. A perfect circle of metal and energy shields. Above and below, thousands of aliens watched from observation decks. Ships from 100 worlds surrounded the structure, all broadcasting the fight to their home systems. The entire galaxy was watching. The Galactic Arbiter appeared in the center of the arena, its form shimmering with light. Its voice filled every mind present. This is a trial by combat. The warrior who yields, falls, or dies will determine the fate of 15 worlds. Let honor guide both fighters. Let justice be served. The Arbiter vanished, leaving the arena empty and silent. From the east entrance, Princess Vela emerged. She wore her battle armor, black and gold, fitted to her powerful frame. All 4 arms carried weapons, 2 swords, a spear, and a heavy warhammer. Her yellow eyes gleamed with confidence. The crowd erupted in cheers. She was magnificent, terrifying. Every inch a warrior princess. She walked to the center of the arena and raised all 4 weapons high. The cheering grew louder. Betting terminals across the galaxy locked in final odds. 1,000 to 1. Some bookmakers offered 2,000 to 1. The princess was unstoppable. From the west entrance, Taewon walked out alone. He wore simple combat armor, gray and worn. No fancy decorations. No ceremonies. He carried one weapon, a combat knife, on his belt. That was all. His face was calm, his movements steady. He looked small compared to the massive arena, tiny compared to the princess. Some in the crowd laughed. Others felt pity. A few, very few, who had seen humans fight before leaned forward with interest. Taewon walked to the center and stopped 10 feet from Vela. He said nothing. He simply looked up at her and waited. Vela smiled down at him. Last chance, human. Yield now and I will let you live. Your species will lose the territory, but you will survive. That is more mercy than most receive from me. Taewon's expression did not change. Are we fighting or talking? The smile vanished from Vela's face. So be it. Try to make this entertaining. The Arbiter's voice echoed one final time. The challenge begins in 3, 2, 1. Fight! Vela moved like lightning. All 4 arms struck at once. Weapons coming from different angles, each one aimed to kill. The crowd gasped at her speed. No one could possibly dodge that, but Taewon moved. Not fast, not frantically. Just precisely. His body shifted 6 inches to the left. The sword missed his head by a hair's width. He leaned back. The spear passed through empty air where his chest had been. He stepped sideways. The hammer hit the arena floor where he had been standing, leaving a crater in the metal. 5 seconds gone. Vela pressed the attack. She was faster now, angry that he had dodged. Her forearms became a whirlwind of death. Sword, spear, hammer, sword. Strike, thrust, swing, cut. Each attack could kill. Each attack should have connected. But Taiwan kept moving. Always just enough. Never too much. Each dodge was minimal, precise, calculated. He was reading her movements, predicting her strikes. His eyes never left her arms. 10 seconds gone. The crowd was silent now, mesmerized. This should have been over already. The human should have been dead. But he was still moving, still dodging, still alive. Vela roared in frustration. She increased her speed, attacking faster than most eyes could follow. But Taewon's dodges also increased. It was like watching water flow around rocks, like watching wind slip through fingers. No matter how fast she struck, he was not there. 20 seconds gone. Then Vela changed tactics. She feinted with her right sword, drawing his attention, then struck with all 3 other weapons simultaneously. No one could dodge 3 attacks from 3 directions at once. Taiwan tried. He almost succeeded. The spear missed. The hammer missed. But the left sword caught him across the ribs, cutting through his armor like paper. Blood sprayed across the white arena floor. The crowd gasped. Taiwan grunted in pain but kept moving. 30 seconds gone. Vela saw the blood and pressed harder. Now she knew she could hit him. Now she just had to finish it. Her 4 arms moved in perfect coordination, each strike building on the last. She drove him backward toward the edge of the arena. She cut him twice more, once on the arm, once across the back. More blood. 40 seconds gone. The crowd began to cheer again. This was it. The human was hurt, bleeding, slowing down. The princess was winning, just as everyone had predicted. It would be over soon. Vela saw her opening. Taewon's defense wavered for just a moment. She did not hesitate. All 4 arms pulled back, then struck together in a devastating combination. 4 weapons, 4 directions, hitting the same moment. There was no dodge possible. The strikes connected. Hammer to the chest, spear to the side, both swords to his torso. The sound of impact echoed through the arena like thunder. The force lifted Taewon off his feet and threw him backward 20 feet. He hit the arena floor hard and rolled, leaving a trail of blood. The crowd roared. It was over. It had to be over. No one could survive that. 55 seconds gone. Vela stood tall, all 4 arms raised in victory. The announcer's voice started to declare her the winner. The betting houses began processing payouts. The Karath delegation celebrated. Then Taiwan moved. It started with his hand, just his fingers twitching. Then his arm pushing against the floor. Then his whole body shifting, rolling, rising. The crowd fell silent. The announcer stopped mid-sentence. Even Vela lowered her arm, staring in disbelief. Taewon got to his knees. Blood ran from his mouth, his nose, his wounds. His armor was cracked and torn. He was shaking. But he was moving. 60 seconds gone, he put 1 foot on the ground. Then the other. And then, impossibly, he stood up. The entire arena was silent. Thousands of beings watched in stunned disbelief. The human should have been dead. Those strikes would have killed any warrior. They had seen Vela use that combination before. It had never failed. Taewon stood there, swaying slightly, blood dripping from his wounds. He coughed and blood sprayed from his mouth. He wiped it away with the back of his hand. Then he looked up at Vela. "Yeah," he said quietly. "That hurt." Vela's yellow eyes widened. How are you standing?" "I shattered your ribs. I pierced your lung. You should be dead." Taewon took 1 step forward. Then another. His movements were slow, painful, but steady. "You said I wouldn't last a minute against you." Vela backed up a step, confusion and disbelief on her face. "That was your minute." Taewon's eyes hardened. Blood was still running down his face, but his voice was steady. "The rest of this fight is mine." For the first time in her life, Princess Vela felt something she had never experienced in the arena before. It was cold, creeping up her spine. It made her scales tingle. It made her want to step back again. It was fear. Taewon moved. Not in a dodge this time. In an attack. A single punch, straight and simple. Nothing fancy. Nothing complicated. Just a punch. Vela brought up all 4 arms to block it. The punch hit her crossed arms with tremendous force. The impact sent her sliding backward across the arena floor, her feet leaving trails in the metal. She stopped 10 feet away, her arms numb from the impact. She stared at him in shock. That force. That speed. You were holding back? No. Taewon started walking toward her again, slow and steady. I was adapting, learning your patterns, understanding your rhythm. He rolled his shoulders and something cracked. Now I know how you fight. Vela looked at her mentor in the observation deck. Commander Rax's face was grim and he nodded slowly. This was what he had tried to warn her about. The human announcer, a woman named Mi-sun, spoke into her microphone, her voice shaking with excitement. Ladies and gentlemen, 62 seconds into this fight, and Captain Taewon is still standing. He took a combination that would kill most species, and he got back up. This is what we mean when we say humans are death worlders. They simply refuse to die. Across the galaxy, on 15 colony worlds, 3 million humans watched their champion stand back up. In bars and homes, in public squares and command centers, they watched him walk toward the princess who had promised to kill him in a minute. That minute was over. And the human was still standing. On New Seoul, Jinwoo stood with his family in the town square watching the broadcast on a massive screen. Tears ran down his face. I told you, he whispered. I told you he was a death worlder. In Sung-ho's shop, the weapons dealer stared at his screen, a smile spreading across his face. You stubborn fool. You beautiful stubborn fool. In the observation deck, Hana gripped the railing so hard her knuckles turned white. She had seen Taewon fight before, but never like this. Never with this cold, patient determination. This was not the young soldier she had known. This was something the war had forged. Something that could take unimaginable damage and keep moving forward. On the arena floor, Vela adjusted her grip on her weapons. The confidence was gone from her face. In its place was something new. Respect. And beneath that, growing stronger with each second, was fear. Because the human was still walking toward her. Still bleeding, still hurt, but not stopping. Not even slowing down. And there were still many minutes left in this fight. The fight changed after the first minute. Vela was no longer attacking to win quickly. Now she was fighting to survive. Her 4 arms moved in constant defense, creating a barrier of weapons around her. Every time Taewon attacked, she blocked or deflected. But each time she blocked, the force of his strike sent vibrations up her arms. Each time she deflected, she had to give ground. 2 minutes into the fight, Vela tried to regain control. She spun, all 4 weapons creating a deadly circle around her. The attack forced Taewon back several steps. She used the space to reassess. The human was still bleeding. His armor was torn. She could see the cut she had made, still open and flowing red. But his eyes were clear. His breathing was controlled. And he was not slowing down. 3 minutes in, Vela attacked with a new strategy. She used her reach advantage, keeping him at a distance with her spear and swords. The hammer she kept back, ready for when he tried to close in. It worked for a while. She landed several more hits, cutting his shoulder, his leg, his side. But Taewon took each hit and kept coming. Blood loss should have weakened him. Pain should have slowed him. But he moved with the same steady, patient pace, step by step, getting closer. In the observation deck, Hana stood with Commander Rax. The old Karath warrior had requested to speak with her. His face was troubled as he watched his student fight. Your human is doing what I feared, Rax said quietly. What do you mean? He is using her strength against her. Every powerful strike she makes burns energy. Every fast movement drains her stamina. She is strong, faster than him, better trained. But she cannot maintain this pace. Hana watched Taewon take another hit and keep moving. How is he still fighting? Those wounds. Because he is from a death world. Rax pulled up a data screen. I studied Earth after my encounter with humans. Your planet's gravity is 1.3 times what the princess is used to. Every step she takes on her homeworld, your human has been lifting more weight his entire life. His muscles, his bones, they are denser than hers. He changed the screen, showing biological data. Your atmosphere has more oxygen than most planets. Your blood cells evolved to carry more. His body is more efficient at processing energy and healing damage. Look at his wounds. They should be bleeding more. But his blood is already clotting, already starting to heal. Hana stared at the data. She had never thought about it before. Earth had always just been home. But to alien eyes, to species that evolved on gentler worlds, Earth was a nightmare. What else? Your pain tolerance. Rax's voice was almost admiring. Most species feel pain and stop. It is evolution's way of preventing damage. But humans evolved on a world where stopping meant death, so your brain learned to produce chemicals that let you keep fighting through pain. Endorphins, your scientists call them. The more hurt your captain gets, the more his body produces. He is actually becoming more able to ignore his injuries as the fight continues. 4 minutes into the fight, Vela was starting to understand this herself. She had hit the human more than 20 times. Clean hits, powerful strikes. Any other opponent would have fallen long ago. But Taewon just absorbed the damage and kept coming. She was breathing harder now. Her forearms were starting to ache from the constant blocking and striking. Sweat was forming on her scales. How long had it been? 4 minutes? It felt like an hour. 5 minutes in, Taewon began to increase his pace. Not much, just slightly faster, hitting a bit harder, moving a bit more aggressively. Vela had to work harder to defend. She had to use more energy. And somewhere deep inside, a terrible thought formed. She was getting tired. 6 minutes into the fight, Vela made a mistake. She overextended with her right sword, trying for a finishing blow. Taewon did not dodge this time. He stepped inside her reach and grabbed the sword arm with both hands. Then he twisted. The joint gave way with a sickening crack. Vela screamed in pain. Her first real sound of distress. Taewon released the arm and stepped back. The sword fell from her numb fingers. Now she only had 3 arms working. The right arm hung useless at her side, broken above the elbow. "You broke my arm," Vela said in disbelief. "Yes." Taewon picked up the dropped sword and tossed it out of the arena. Fair is fair. 7 minutes in, the crowd was completely silent. This was not what anyone had expected. The princess was hurt. The human was still fighting. The betting houses were in chaos as people tried to change their bets, but the fight had gone too far. All bets were locked. Mi-sun spoke into her microphone, her voice carrying to human colonies across known space. "For those just joining us, we are 7 minutes into a fight that was supposed to last less than 1. Captain Taewon has sustained injuries that would hospitalize most species, but he is still fighting. Princess Vela has just suffered her first serious injury. This is unprecedented." 8 minutes in, Vela tried to end it. She dropped the hammer and took up a 2-handed stance with her spear and remaining sword. She attacked with everything she had left, using techniques she had trained for decades to perfect. She was still faster than the human, still stronger. She could still win, but Taewon had been watching her for 8 minutes now. He knew her patterns. He knew which arm moved first. He knew which foot she favored. He knew when she would strike and where. He slipped past her guard and hit her in the ribs. Not with his fist, with his elbow. The impact cracked scales and drove the air from her lungs. She stumbled backward, gasping. 9 minutes in, Vela realized the terrible truth. She was going to lose. 10 minutes into the fight, she was breathing hard. Her 3 working arms trembled with fatigue. She had never fought this long before. Her training sessions lasted minutes, not this extended torture. Her body was not built for endurance. The Karath were warriors of power and speed, quick victories or honorable deaths. Not this slow, grinding exhaustion, but the human kept coming. Always forward, always pressing, never giving her time to rest, never letting her recover. He was hurt worse than her, bleeding more, breathing harder, but he did not stop. Rax spoke to Hana again, his voice heavy with an emotion she could not identify. "Respect, sorrow. Your species hunted animals by walking after them. Not running, just walking. For hours, for days if necessary. The prey would run, exhaust itself, run again. But the humans never stopped walking. Eventually, the prey could not run anymore. It would collapse, too tired to flee. That is when your ancestors struck. You're saying Taewon is doing the same thing to Vela? I am saying that is what every human does in a fight, whether they realize it or not. It is built into your species. You are persistence predators. You do not win by being strongest or fastest. You win by refusing to stop. 12 minutes into the fight, Vela's left leg buckled. Just for a moment. Just a wobble. But Taewon saw it. He pressed forward, landing 3 solid hits before she could recover. Her scales cracked. Her armor dented. She coughed and it hurt. 15 minutes in, her second sword fell from numb fingers. Now she only had the spear in one hand and one broken arm hanging useless. Her breathing was ragged. Her yellow eyes were wide with something she had never felt before in the arena. Desperation. Taewon still bled from a dozen wounds. His left eye was swollen shut from a strike 10 minutes ago. His ribs screamed with every breath. His right knee threatened to give out with every step. But he kept moving forward, one step, then another, patient, unstoppable. Please, Vela gasped. How are you still moving? Taewon did not answer immediately. He circled to her left, forcing her to turn on her exhausted legs. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, almost gentle. 3 years ago, my unit fought on Carax Prime. Do you know that planet? Vela shook her head, too tired to speak. Gravity 3 times Earth normal. Air so thin we could barely breathe. Carnivores that hunted in packs. We were supposed to be there for 3 days. We were there for 5 days and 18 hours. He moved closer. 40 people went down with me. I was the only one who came back. Not because I was stronger or smarter, but because I was too stubborn to die. He struck, a simple punch that Vela barely blocked. The force made her arm shake. We didn't sleep for 5 days. We didn't rest. We just kept fighting, kept moving, kept surviving. Because that's what humans do. That's what we learned on Earth when everything on that planet tried to kill us. We learned to just keep going. 20 minutes into the fight, Vela dropped to one knee. She caught herself with her spear, using it as a support. Her 3 working arms shook violently. Sweat poured down her scales. She had never felt so tired in her life. Taewon stood over her. He was swaying on his feet. Flood covered most of his armor. One arm hung at an odd angle. But he was still standing, still ready to fight. Yield, he said quietly. Vela looked up at him, tears in her yellow eyes. Not from pain, from understanding. She had been so confident, so certain of her superiority. But she had never faced anything like this. Never fought something that simply would not stop. I cannot last much longer, she whispered, I know. How much longer can you fight? Taewon looked down at her. In his tired, bleeding face, she saw the truth. He could fight for hours more. Days if necessary. He would die before he stopped. That was what made him terrifying. Not strength, not speed. Just the absolute certainty that he would never, ever quit. As long as it takes, he said, 25 minutes into the fight. The knife was cold against Vela's throat. She could feel her pulse beating against the blade. One movement from the human and she would die. She had faced death before, but always with weapons in hand, always still fighting. This was different. This was defeat. Her voice cracked. Her pride screamed at her to stay silent, to accept death rather than yield. But as she looked up into Taewon's tired eyes, she saw something that changed her mind. He did not look triumphant. He looked exhausted. Sad even. This was a man who took no joy in winning. He simply did what was necessary. I yield, she whispered. Then louder so everyone could hear. I yield! The knife lowered. Taewon stepped back, sheathing it. He extended his hand to her. Not to strike. Not to mock. To help her stand, Vela stared at the offered hand. In Karath culture, the defeated were shown no mercy. Weakness was death. But the human stood there swaying on his feet, bleeding from a dozen wounds, and offered her respect. She took his hand. He pulled her to her feet, supporting her weight when her legs nearly gave out. They stood there for a moment, the victor and the defeated both barely able to stand. The Galactic Arbiter appeared between them. The trial by combat is complete. Captain Taewon of humanity is victorious. The disputed territories remain under human control. Let all beings witness that justice has been served. The crowd was silent for a long moment. Then the cheering began. Not just from humans, but from dozens of species. They had witnessed something remarkable, something that would be talked about for generations. Medical teams rushed onto the arena floor. They tried to separate Taewon and Vela, but the princess held on to his arm. Wait, I must know. How badly are you hurt? The lead medic, a small alien with multiple eyes, scanned Taewon with her equipment. Her eyes went wide. 17 broken or fractured ribs. Punctured left lung. Fractured right arm. Severe muscle tears throughout his body. Internal bleeding in multiple locations. He should be unconscious. He should be dead. The medic turned to Vela. And you, princess. Broken right arm. Cracked ribs, severe muscle fatigue, dehydration, and exhaustion. Both of you need immediate medical attention. As they were helped toward the medical bays, Vela looked at Taewon. 43 injuries. And you were still ready to fight, yes. Why? Why push yourself that far? Taewon was quiet for a moment. 3 million people needed me to win. 43 injuries seemed like a fair price. In the observation deck, Hana was crying. Sung-ho was cheering. Jin-woo was hugging his family. Across 15 colony worlds, humans celebrated. They had won. Their champion had proven that humanity belonged among the stars. Commander Rax stood alone, watching as they carried his student away. He felt no shame. She had fought well. She had simply encountered something beyond her understanding. Now she would learn. That was the way of warriors. 3 days later, Taewon was released from the medical bay. His injuries had healed faster than the doctors expected, though they should not have been surprised. Human healing rates were well documented. Still, it was one thing to read about it and another to see it happen. Hana met him outside the medical facility. "You look better." "I feel terrible." He moved slowly, stiffly. "But I'll live. The colonies want to honor you. There's going to be a ceremony, medals, speeches." Taewon's face showed his distaste for the idea. "No. Taewon, you saved 3 million people. Let them thank you. I don't want thanks. I just want to go back to my quiet life." Before Hana could respond, a figure approached. Princess Vela walked toward them, her right arm in a complex brace. She was flanked by guards, but she waved them back. She wanted to speak privately. "Captain Taewon," she said formally. "Princess." They stood facing each other. The last time they had met like this, she had promised to kill him in a minute. Now everything was different. "I came to apologize," Vela said. The words were clearly difficult for her. "I underestimated you. I mocked you. I was arrogant and foolish. You were confident. There's a difference. No, I was arrogant. Confidence is earned. Mine was not." She looked directly at him. "You taught me something important. Strength is not about power or speed. It is about will. About refusing to surrender. About enduring." Taewon nodded slowly. "You fought well. Better than most. But not well enough." She paused. "I have a request. It may seem strange. What is it?" "Teach me. Teach my people what it means to be from a death world. We are strong, but we rely too much on that strength. When we face something we cannot defeat with power, we do not know what to do. You can teach us endurance, persistence, the will to continue when everything says to stop." Taewon looked surprised. "You want me to train Kareth warriors?" "I want you to show us what we lack. My people have never lost a trial by combat before. This defeat has shaken us, but Commander Rack says it is a gift. A chance to grow stronger by understanding our weakness." She met his eyes. "Will you help us?" Taewon was silent for a long moment. Finally, he looked at Hana. "What do you think?" Hana smiled. "I think it's an opportunity for both our species to learn from each other. The Karath can teach us combat technique. We can teach them endurance. It could be the beginning of a real alliance, and then I accept," Taewon said. "But on one condition." "Name it," Vela said. "No more arenas. No more combat trials. If we're going to train together, we do it as allies, not enemies." Vela smiled, showing her sharp teeth. It was not a threatening expression, but one of genuine warmth. "Agreed." 6 months passed. The joint training facility on Kareth 7 became famous throughout the galaxy. Kareth warriors and human soldiers trained side by side. The Karath taught hand-to-hand combat techniques refined over centuries. Humans taught endurance training, survival skills, and persistence tactics. Princess Vela and Captain Taewon became unlikely friends. They sparred regularly, though never seriously. Each match was a teaching opportunity. Vela learned to pace herself, to think in terms of long battles rather than quick victories. Taewon learned new techniques, ways to use his endurance more efficiently. Jin Woo joined the program. He was young and eager, soaking up everything the Karath taught while showing them the basics of human persistence hunting. He became a bridge between the two cultures, his enthusiasm infectious. One day, Vela and Taewon stood in the observation deck watching the trainees below. A Karath warrior was facing a human soldier in an extended sparring match. The Karath was more skilled, but after 20 minutes she was tiring. The human kept pressing, patient and steady. Finally, the Karath yielded, too exhausted to continue. But instead of defeat, there was respect. The human helped the Karath up and they bowed to each other. "They learn quickly," Vela said. "Both sides do." Commander Rax was right. Losing to you was a gift. My people are stronger now. We understand that power means nothing without the will to use it properly. Taewon watched the trainees. "Your people were already strong. You just needed to learn one more tool. Just like humans needed to learn your techniques. We make each other better." Vela turned to him. I never thanked you properly for not killing me. You had the right. I had challenged you. You won. You could have ended my life and no one would have questioned it. I'm not a killer. I'm a soldier. There's a difference. What is the difference? A killer takes life because they can. A soldier takes life only when they must. He looked at her. I didn't need to kill you. You yielded. That was enough. That is another thing my people are learning. Mercy is not weakness. It is strength under control. They stood in comfortable silence watching the training below. A Karath instructor was teaching a group of humans a complex weapon form. A human instructor was leading Karath warriors on a long-distance run, teaching them to pace their breathing and conserve energy. Mi-sun, the human journalist, was documenting everything. Her reports were broadcast across human space and beyond. She called it the Death World Alliance, and the name stuck. What had started as a fight to the death had become something beautiful, a partnership that made both species stronger. Hana visited often, pleased with how things had developed. The colonies were secure. The Karath Empire had become an ally instead of a threat. And Taiwan, the man who had wanted only to be left alone, had found a new purpose. One evening, Taiwan stood at the memorial wall where his unit was commemorated. He had added something new. Princess Vela's banner hung beside his unit's flag, not as a trophy, as a symbol of respect earned through combat and friendship forged through understanding. Vela found him there. Is this a human tradition? Honoring former enemies? No, it's my tradition. My unit taught me that every fight has meaning. Every opponent deserves respect. You challenged me for the right reasons. You fought with honor. You accepted defeat with dignity. That deserves to be remembered. Vela touched her banner gently. In 6 months you have taught me more than I learned in 20 years of fighting. About endurance. About will. About what it truly means to be strong. And you've taught me that strength comes in many forms. I was so focused on surviving, on enduring, that I forgot there was beauty in the fight itself. Your people understand that. Combat is art, as expression. He smiled slightly. We balance each other. Yes, we do, she paused. The Karath Council wants to extend the alliance. Full trade agreements. Military cooperation. Cultural exchange. They want humanity to be formal allies of the Empire.